Now, this isn't the case with all movie tigers, but you ever wonder why some of them have stripes? It's so they can camouflage the fact that they're in shitty movies like this. The Tiger Rising is based off of the famous book by Kate DiCamillo, who also brought you Because of Winn-Dixie in The Tale of Despero, and this movie stars the likes of Queen Latifah and Dennis Quaid. And we follow 12-year-old Rob Horton, who discovers a caged tiger in the woods near his home, and his imagination runs wild as his life begins to change in the most unexpected ways. With help from a wise but mysterious maid played by Queen Latifah and the stubborn new girl at school, Rob navigates through childhood memories, heartache, and wondrous adventures. So here's the thing about this film, guys. I didn't realize it was out until like a couple of days ago. I didn't really see any promotion for it. There wasn't a trailer that I hooked onto, and it really surprised me because this was based off of a book that I really admired growing up. Very effective ending as well, and I won't spoil it for you just in case you haven't read it. But after sitting through this movie, the lack of publicity makes a lot more sense now, because this movie was very, very bad. And before I go too far into the deep end with this rant that's incoming, let me just say for the record that The Tiger Rising does have some good intentions. The messages are there. The last 5 minutes of this movie, surprisingly effective. The CGI on this tiger, pretty darn cool, even though this is a pretty hit or miss department overall. But let's just say that none of these positives are enough to save this movie from being the meandering, boring hunk of garbage that it is. Think about if you were watching Bridge to Terabithia and they sucked all the likability and Disney magic out of it. This script is one of the most tediously repetitive scripts I've had the misfortune of sitting through in quite some time. The fact that the main character, Rob, has this disorder of itching his legs that may or may not be contagious was brought up so many times in literally the exact same way. This dialogue will not place any sort of trust in its audience. It hammers the messages in one after the other, holding our hands throughout the entire runtime. Not only that, but there's some pretty darn clumsy turnarounds for certain characters. They'll be gazing in wonderment whimsically at this tiger, and then a couple seconds later they'll start hating each other. Like, there's some disconnect there, movie. Now, before I go too far into the deep end on this next point, I want to say that these are young performers, and they're still learning, and when you come across bad child performances, it's really, really difficult to talk about them sometimes. Number one, this script really isn't doing these kids any favors, and the best friend character, Sistine, it's... God, don't even get me started. This is one of the most unlikable child characters of all time. She says things to Rob throughout this that are downright baffling, and even more shocking is that Rob forgives her for all of this. Heck, I thought I was too forgiving of a person. No, after what Rob has heard from Sistine, she could probably cuss him out and speak ill of his home life, and he would still forgive her. No realism there whatsoever. If I were in Rob's shoes, I would want nothing to do with Sistine after the she says to him. And speaking of no realistic qualities, Dennis Quaid plays the motel innkeeper in this poorly. You could not come up with a more cartoonish, brutish, and outlandish dumbass like this guy. And it feels like a performance where you want to laugh at it, but you can't, because it's not funny or endearing or entertaining. And I hate saying that, because Dennis Quaid has done some good stuff in the past. He has some good projects coming up. The Tiger Rising, I don't think, will be one of those projects. And that's even more tragic, as this movie feels like a gigantic paycheck for talented people like Dennis Quaid, like a Queen Latifah, who has proven herself to be very entertaining in many projects. Even though this movie is well-intended and it does have some talented people involved, the director is a first-time director, and he does show flashes of potential here. The execution was just severely botched. And for a story that's based off of a famous Kate DiCamillo novel, who has gotten some good movie adaptations in the past, The Tale of Despero is criminally underrated in my opinion. This just wasn't it, guys. I'm gonna give The Tiger Rising an F. Yeah, this movie, sadly, I don't think is worth your time. I think you should go watch Scream again, or heck, better yet, go watch Spider-Man No Way Home again. Help it crack the $2 billion barrier. I'm gonna go watch it for the 4th time later this week myself. I don't know about you guys. But let me know what you guys are watching this January down in the comments section below. If you guys happen to watch The Tiger Rising, let me know what you thought of it down below as well, because I always love discussing all things cinema and entertainment here on the regular. So do consider smashing that subscribe button as as well as that notification bell icon right next to it. That way you don't miss a future upload from me from now on. This channel is also inching oh so dangerously close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm hoping you guys can help that along. And don't forget to smash that thumbs up button on your way out. That would be some tremendous help as well. And as always, stay tuned for more exciting content hitting this channel very, very soon. I will be continuing my Harry Potter playlist with Prisoner of Azkaban hitting the channel sometime next week. Not a whole lot of other new releases to be talking about. We do have Cyrano coming out January 28th, finally where I am. So definitely a lot more exciting projects to talk about going into the new year here. But guys, y'all are the best. Again, I cannot appreciate your guys' support nearly enough. This was a very cathartic video for me to make, and I hope it was as cathartic for you as it was for me. And with all that being said, back talk, commence.